was supposed to be climbing Mount Kinabalu this week. I'd been prepared for some physical discomfort. For long days, navigating unfamiliar terrain and communicating in a foreign language. But I relished the challenge and unpredictability of extreme adventures, climbing icy peaks, diving out of airplanes, and rafting turbulent rivers, pared a person's existence down to their most important qualities: intelligence, courage, strength of will. That was what made them fun. Then I'd made the mistake of answering my mother's phone call. One brief convo later. "Sebastian, darling, the Dane family has donated hundreds of thousands to the Coalition for Children over the years. Your father and I are in the south of France and can't possibly attend, but it wouldn't do for us to snub the organization at their largest annual fundraiser. Can't your trip wait?" My expedition to Borneo had somehow morphed into a world-class guilt trip. Oh, there was still physical discomfort, all right, but in the form of a stuffy tuxedo. And there were communication challenges, too, like explaining repeatedly that I wasn't looking for a boyfriend, an amazing new investment opportunity, or to get anyone's kid a job at Sterling Chase just because I happened to sit on the board of directors. My existence had been pared down to what was most important in this world: my bank balance and my connections. And it was the opposite of fun. In fact, this gala was a fun wasteland, where everything was black and white, cold and flat, and nothing new or exciting ever happened. As I stood in a small alcove off to the side of the MoMA's elegant reception room, trying to coax my brain cells back to life after a mind-numbing conversation with Constance Baxter Hicks about her topiary garden, her eligible gay nephew Patrick, how much Patrick loved topiaries, and how desperately she'd like us to grow topiaries together, I decided I'd reached the upper limit of my boredom tolerance. Since I wasn't leaving for Borneo, better to get some rest so I could focus on work in the morning. I'd only taken a single step for the door when a man sailed across the polished floor, directly in front of my hidden alcove, arms windmilling wildly. His face, snub-nosed and freckled and sort of weirdly angelic, was frozen in terror until he managed to grab a support column like a drowning sailor grabbing a life preserver and swing himself into the shadows directly in front of me, where he landed on his feet. Well, this was different. "Good fucking fuck," the man said succinctly and a bit breathlessly, bending over at the waist to catch his breath. I resisted the sudden urge to laugh out loud. For someone who looked like he'd walked out of a Botticelli painting, he had a hell of a mouth on him. And the curve of the ass he was inadvertently displaying in his black pants wasn't bad either. "Impressive dismount," I said mildly, startling the angel into jumping nearly a foot. "But I'm afraid you're going to need to find your own potted plant to hide behind. This one's taken." He gasped and spun toward me, and his face morphed into an expression not unlike a disgruntled kitten, adorable and cranky. "You saw nothing," he informed me with a glare. "Now back off, He hesitated as he belatedly looked me up and down, then from shoulder to shoulder. His eyes widened, and he wet his lips, seemingly unconsciously. Please?" A knot of anticipation coiled in my gut. A stray curl chose that precise moment to flop directly in the center of his forehead, and I bit my cheek, torn between amusement and a burning desire to pull the man against me. Whoa. No. Bad Sebastian. Clearly, I'd had too much champagne because I did not hook up with strangers I met at fundraising galas. In fact, I'd rarely hooked up with anyone at all recently, and for very good reason. But even knowing all that, I couldn't stop myself from returning the man's up and down look with a slow